Tēnā koutou katoa, no mai haere mai, welcome to Meow. I've just kicked off over a glass of water, which is a great start. Welcome to the special edition of Politics and Pubs, Wellington Mayoralty edition 2022, brought to you by Spinoff members with Pirate and Queen, or as I assume they're known now, Pirate and King. My name is Toby Manhire, Editor-at-Large from the Spinoff. We were thinking of holding a debate in Auckland, but then we looked at the field in Auckland and thought, let's do one in Wellington instead. Great call, because they've had probably more debates in Auckland now than the total number of people who will vote in that election. So we're on to a winner. Wellington, the Spinoff is based in Auckland, and I've thought about this line very carefully, so please give it your full attention. The Spinoff is headquartered in Auckland, but heart-quartered in Wellington. Thank you very much. Right, now look, thanks. We're hugely grateful for the candidates for turning up tonight. It is a bit of a slog, this whole campaign, and they're all in good spirits. And I'd like to kick things off with a big round of applause for who's first in alphabetical order. Mr. Mayor incumbent, Andy Foster. I got the alphabetical order wrong. Yes, by first names, Andy Foster. Thank you. Look at that. A big warm welcome to the MP for Rongotai, Paul Eagle. Give it up. And finally, huge welcome for Tory Whanau, former Chief of Staff for the Green Party. Okay, so
audience.
I should just say that other candidates are available. And if you want to have a look at all the other candidates, go and log on to policy.nz, where you can also find all the candidates for council and for the board and all that. Carry on. It's your, what's the slogan for it? It's your one-stop shop for everything you need to know about the local elections. I think that's right. It's really good size. Now, the normal form at events such as these is for the participants to begin with an opening statement of some form, but they're at the point now in the campaign where they're starting to mutter those statements through their sleep. So we thought we'd try it differently, and given we're in the cultural capital, we thought we would task them for delivering their opening in poetry form. And we've offered the opportunity to do either a limerick or a haiku. I don't need to explain to anyone the form of a haiku. 575. What's a limerick? Well, you're about to find out.
Place an island.
Would you like to kick us off, please, Andy Foster?
Do you want me to do the haiku or the limerick or both?
Well, you choose. Do one or the other.
I feel a bit like Don McDonald having to read something here. Right. Honoured to lead the city I love. Got lots done, even though it's been tough. Fixing pipes, transport deals, providing for housing for all. Supporting the arts, library, St James, Taikina, Town Hall. Let's work together, get our city on the move.
I'm not sure whether that was a haiku or a limerick, but I thank you for it. Paul Eagle, take it away.
Kia ora everyone. Here we go. Fresh out of Island Bay. Over poo in streets flies an eagle. I'll fix that, cries the howling wind.
Kia ora, thank you, Paul. Tory.
Sorry, in advance. Let down by pale, male and stale. Pipes and buses, an embarrassing fail. Then along came Tory, to make it all hunky-dory. Vote whānau number 1 and in relief, exhale.
Give it up for our poets. This is just going to turn into an open mic night now, I feel. Andy Foster, let's throw in at you first up. What is the biggest mistake that the Wellington City Council has made over the last 30 years that you've been around the traps?
Last 30 years?
Yeah.
Blimey. How long have you got?
We've got about 25 seconds.
Anything I disagree with?
No. Where did things go wrong? You've been there across those 3 decades.
I actually think that we've got a fantastic city, so we must have done a whole lot right over that time as well.
No
We're a
doubt.
miles better city than we were 30 years ago. So actually, I'm seeing Fran over there as who came in as the mayor at that time, and I think we've come a long way, and we're a city now that most people admire. We're just we're getting ourselves out of COVID, and it's onwards and upwards.
Is Fran Wild here? Oh, what
I can see Fran over
Look
there.
at that. Surely it's not too late,
I
Fran.
can see through the lights here.
Paul Eagle, obviously you are a sitting Member of Parliament, and there's been some talk about the potential for a by-election. If you are successful and become mayor, will you stay as a parliamentarian until the 6-month point before the next general election, donate your salary to a worthy cause, and then save us the $1 million or so for having a by-election?
Probably not, Toby. I'm in. If I get this gig, I'm all in to be Wellington's mayor.
Okay, all right, thank you for your frankness. Tory, if you don't win the mayoralty, will we see your name on the Green Party list at the next general election?
So first of all, I want to say that if I were to become mayor, I'd be saving the taxpayer $1.2 million.
And so would I.
But secondly, I'm going to be straight up about this. If I lose, and I don't want to lose, I want to be the Mayor of Wellington, I will stand for Parliament.
Okay, thank
Why
you for your
wouldn't I?
comment. Thank you. Okay, in a bold departure from regular convention, I am going to attempt a new question format, which might not work, but we'll try. I want to invite you to answer the following questions on a sliding scale from 1 to 10. 1 being, I hate that idea, it's a very bad idea, bury that idea. 10 being, I love that idea, it's a very good idea, I agree with that statement, I almost want to marry it. Sort of 5.5 being quite cowardly fence sitting.
Is this the one where we stand at one end or the other?
You can physicalise it if you like, but I'm just looking for a number. We'll do a trial run just to see if it works.
Yeah.
And I'll say, so the statement is, Wellington makes the best coffee in the Southern Hemisphere.
Well, it's about 11, isn't it?
Okay, that's good. No, you're getting it. Okay, Paul?
Yep, 11.
12? Tory?
13.
Well, 10, because I like to stick to the facts.
Oh, there we go.
What's that got to do with politics?
And 12% is a bad...
Okay, I feel like this is working really well.
We got the idea anyway.
Let's try. Okay, so this week, the Christchurch City Council responded to an invitation, an obligation from central government on intensification of housing, a cross-party mandate, by saying, fuck you.
They did?
Was that good? 10 good on them, 1 shocking. Tory, will you go first this time?
1 shocking.
Okay. Because?
We need more housing.
Okay. Paul?
Yeah, 1 shocking. I mean, we need lots of housing.
Andy, where are you on the 1 to 10?
I vary between 1 and 10. It's ballsy, but I think they got it wrong, and I think they're going to regret it.
Okay. Do you guys think, in terms of just briefly on the housing and density issue, do you guys think that is a settled question in Wellington now? Paul, do you want to go first?
Ooh, settled. So I want to say no. So what is that? It's not settled. So is that...
The district plan is out now for submissions, is that right?
It's closed for submissions, closed on Sunday.
Okay.
But I think it is unsettled because we've got those who want to see some respect for heritage and those that want to see lots of houses. So not quite there yet. So where does that sit without being a coward?
Tory?
6.
It's not settled because there's fear on both sides. But I think what we need to realise is that we can totally do both. We can have density done well, and we can still retain some of our heritage character in our outer suburbs. It can totally be done.
And are you happy where you've landed with that?
No, I'm not. This is one of the areas you asked about. Areas where there was contention and where I don't think council's got it right. This is one of the ones I don't think council's got it right, and it's because we had a really divisive debate. It didn't have to be a divisive debate. It's one we need to bring people together, not push people apart. So I think Tory's right that I think we can have our cake and eat it too. We can protect heritage and we can build all the houses that we want. So and of course now, thankfully, it's out of the political process. It's into the submission process.
Okay. Let's go back to my sliding scale. Tory, Three Waters is the solution for Wellington's problems.
10.
10? It's all...
10's good, right? Yeah.
10's really good. 10's you want to marry it good.
It has to be done. I want to marry Three Waters.
All right, okay. Paul, where are you on the 1 to 10?
Yeah, 10 for me. I mean, look, it's, Wellingtonians told me that fixing pipes, getting back to basics is our biggest issue, so 10.
Andy Foster.
I'd give it about a 3.
3.
It's not going to be free because we're going to pay for it one way or t'other. We're either paying for it as ratepayers and water users, or we're paying for it as water users. So it's not a magic bullet.
So you want to get rid of it entirely?
It's the usual New Zealand thing is we restructure something when there's a solution which we actually need to find, which is actually fixing the pipes.
Isn't Wellington a poster child for Three Waters?
Well, I say, is anybody from the Dominion Post here? Because I say congratulations to that. If a pipe breaks in Wellington, we get caned. If it breaks in Pororua, they don't even mention it. So we are the poster child. There's no doubt about that, and we need to fix that, and we are fixing it.
Okay, let's do one more sliding scale before we abandon that concept forever. Tory, John Key in 2013 said Wellington is a dying city. Where do you want to put that on 1 to 10?
I'm going to give that about a 4.
About a 4?
Because I know we have the feeling of a dying city, but actually there's so much cool stuff here. We just need to get it really thriving again, and we need a mayor to really advocate for that thriving city.
Andy Foster, do you think she's got a point there? You think about 4? Maybe the mayor isn't delivering?
No, I completely disagree with her on that. I think I would actually give that a 1. The reason that John Key gave us that is that he didn't think that we should have had the flyover rejected, and that's why he gave us the 1. We've backed, and I've backed the arts and culture sector in particular really, really strongly, including this very venue through COVID to try and support the arts and culture sector. So I think we have a great future. It's just we're coming out of COVID, which has hammered every central city probably in the world, and so we're coming out of that and we're going to come out strong. Is
Ra here from Meow? Do you agree with that? Do you feel like you were supported when you needed to be supported? Was Meow supported through COVID as it needs to be? Okay.
From the government.
She said we did get some support through COVID, but that's the first time.
You haven't had it from any other mayor, so you got it from me.
Okay. Thanks, Ryan. A round of applause for Meow since we're on that particular subject. Paul, John Key, Wellington is a dying city. 10, you completely agree. 1, you disagree wholeheartedly.
Yeah, 2 for me, and boo to John Key because that was insulting. Wellington isn't dying. It never was. It wasn't even broken. But we have been going backwards in the last 3 years.
Actually, I think we were going backwards the 3 years before that, Paul, when we were here.
That's why I'm here, Toby.
Okay, a question for you, Andy. If there was a medical emergency in this room, how do you think we would respond as a room?
How many consultants have we got in the room? I reckon we get in and help because that's what Wellingtonians do. In fact, I think that's what New Zealanders do, and I hope that's what human beings do, is to get in and help people.
Do you think we'd probably stop doing this silly debate?
Of course we would.
We'd deal with it.
Yeah. Of course we would.
Do you think when the Wellington City Council declared a climate emergency in 2019 that it behaved in a way that would befit the response to an emergency?
I think some emergencies are a little longer and than an immediate one of somebody collapsing in this room. And so, yeah, we have been responding to that. That's why we're doing the transport planning. That's why we're doing the intensification around that transport planning. That's why we're doing waste reduction. That's why we're doing a sludge treatment plant, so we don't have so much stuff going to our landfill, because that's the council's single biggest emitter. That's why we're doing all of those things. So, yeah, we are responding to that. That's why I'm, keep on driving the completion of an outer green belt and reforesting that. So, yeah, we are responding, but we're not going to fix it in 5 seconds.
Tory, what are you going to do to make us respond more immediately and urgently to a climate emergency?
No, credit to the council, actually. They are doing quite a lot in this space to reduce emissions. And so, essentially, I'd be recommitting to the initiatives, especially Let's Get Welly moving, and doing all they can to reduce the timeline to get that started as soon as possible. A full public transport system, including cycleways, is just one of the best ways to reduce emissions. I'd also leverage my relationship with the Climate Change Minister to make sure I was getting the best advice possible.
Greens are keeping him.
No,
That's good.
yeah, that was always going to happen. We're a democratic party, it's fine. But, what better way to ensure that we were a climate resilient city to have someone who did work for the Greens, who has that climate change background. That person is me. Thank you.
What do you think, Paul? Is that a compelling argument?
Well, I think the first thing is that the Te Atukura strategy that the city's got is good. I mean, that's good. But the council's ploughing ahead, but I think it could do better at taking Wellingtonians with it. And I think that's resulted in the stat we talked about, 11, 12. The reason I said 12 is because only 12% of Wellingtonians think the city's on the right track. So I think we've got work to do. If we're going to be bold, that's great. But we need to take Wellingtonians with us, and that's the message that they're giving me.
Like bike lanes, eh?
Or planting trees, or an integrated transport plan for Wellington.
But and bike lanes.
And bike lanes.
Sorry, are you supporting bike lanes now?
Always was. I never voted against them, remember, Andy?
Not sure about that. Not sure about that, Paul.
Fact one, Chair.
12-lane bike lanes.
Don't get the Greens going.
Let's do some quick yes nos. No, let's not. Let's do a palate cleanser. Let's do. What was the last time each of you, from Tory and through the line, what was the last time you went to see a live event in Wellington and it completely blew your fucking mind?
I was invited to Classical on Cuba, and I had never watched kind of classical music before, and I am a total convert, and I just sort of love how we have that diverse range of arts in our city, and I think we'll all agree here that it's just such an important part of our society. So thank you to those who set that up.
Paul Eagle.
Me. So it wasn't the last event. It wasn't the last event I went to. That was the Jubilee that the NZSO ran. But I like Te Matatini down at the stadium. First time we've had the biggest Māori festival here in Pōneke, and totally blown away with the energy and the power that of an Indigenous signature Māori festival. There we are.
Thank you, Andy.
If I'm going to stick to something, stick to something relatively recent, I would have said Les Mis, which was absolutely fantastic, the St James, and the other one, which was immediately preceding that, was the RNZB's, the ballet's Cinderella, which was very different, and it was a whole lot of fun, and I think everybody just absolutely loved that. So
how does that go, Les Mis again? Which one is that?
Les Miserables.
How does it go? What's the song?
Do you hear the people sing? That one?
Oh yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Got it?
Wasn't sure whether it was the one
You
with the
knew.
cats or the one with the... all right, yes and no's. Wellington is named after a duke who did a jolly good job on the battlefield at Waterloo. Is it time to change the name of this city to Te Whanganui Atara? Tory.
Yes.
Paul.
Hey, let's bilingualise it. Let's have both, and then we get going. And
Okay. How does that work? So it's just the one long name?
well, we could have.
Like WTW.
Sitting on the fence.
No, it's been decisive around taking Wellingtonians with us. And then eventually, when they're used to it, no. Think mode shift for all you greenies out there.
It's like Selena Meyer's
we get there
continuity with
eventually.
change.
We get there eventually.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. Andy?
Yeah, look,
Hey, friend.
I'm proud to be a Wellingtonian, so I like the name, and whether it's connected or not to the Duke of Wellington. But I think Te Whanganui-o-Tara is what we can call our harbour, so that works for me as well.
Council is in these last few days, maybe you talked about it today, Andy, during your marathon meeting, but there's been discussion about how to discourage car use and talk of a congestion charge. Yes or no, congestion charge for Wellington? Andy first.
Well, one of the things when I was talking
Yes
to...
or no?
Oh, yes or no? Yes, yeah.
Yeah? Yeah? Paul?
Yes.
Tory?
Yes.
Looks like we're getting a congestion charge.
Well, what I was going to say is I had to
Gotta
persuade the
convince the
government
government.
really advocate very strongly for it.
No, well, it's good enough. It's good enough. It's decided. It's done.
Just pay up.
Paul, you first. The television program Q&A,
Yes.
which I believe stands for questions and answers, is on Sunday revealing the first public poll
It is.
on the Wellington Mayoralty. If you finish a dismal third, will you consider withdrawing from the race?
Absolutely not. I'll keep going to the end.
Tory?
Absolutely not. Given I'm a total newcomer to this race, if I'm in the top 3, I think that would be phenomenal, actually. It'd be a huge win compared to the 2 very public profiles beside me. I think, I'd be stoked, even just to get 3rd.
Here.
Andy?
Well, at least I hope that unlike the Dominion Post, that it actually is a poll. rather than self-selected.
Lots of burns of the
agree. I
Dominion
agree.
Post tonight.
Yeah.
Do you agree with
We've got to burn
me
them somehow.
that following the sad loss
They've
of
been
the
burning me for
Queen,
3 years, so why don't I ever go back?
the Dominion Post should
Right,
take
burning
the
me, yeah.
Dominion bit out of its masthead?
Yeah.
They can take whatever they like out.
Okay, well
I
that sounds
just like them to
sweetness
stop
and
doing so many
harmony,
op-eds. Write the news.
Good. Love a bit of media criticism. Okay, I'm going to do another stupid thing now. I don't know if this is going to work either. I thought the sliding scale was a great triumph, didn't you?
It's good.
If you got us up off
physically.
if you got us up off
Yeah,
the
I
seats,
think we
we'd have been
should.
fine.
All right. It's just that you don't want people to start falling into their talking ports, so you have to do really clever things like produce playing cards. I don't know. I've got 6 cards here, and I'm gonna have a wee break. I've always wanted to do a debate where you just give them microphones and then fuck off and leave them to it. And I feel like you'd learn quite a lot about them and sort of see how they relate to one another. They will probably be deathly dull, so we're not doing that. We're going to give you. I've got 6 cards, and you're going to choose 2 each, and then you're going to alternate. I'm going to go away. You're going to alternate and read out what's on the card, and then follow the instructions. There you go. Take 2. Okay, there you go. Paul. Take 2. Take 2. I stole these cards from my mother's drawer.
Stolen.
So she now has 46 cards there. Sorry, Mum. Who wants to go first? Why don't you go first, Andy?
Let me read them first. All right, okay, first one. Speak for 20 seconds on your thoughts and feelings about Mittens the cat. Look, I love Mittens. The only problem is that he's gone off to Auckland, so I had the pleasure of meeting Mittens and giving him the key to the city because I know that Wellingtonians love him and that he's been out and about greeting many Wellingtonians, greeting his subjects. Perfect cat. And one of the things that there's been the idea of having now is a statue of Mittens. And what I'd really like to know is where that statue should be because he's been out and about so many different places. Where should it be? 20 seconds up?
That's too much. Yeah, we'll just
Too much.
disregard the last 10 seconds. If that was going to
no,
sway
the
your
last
vote,
minute.
just strike it from the record. Who's next?
Me? All right, glasses are on. Answer the following. If there was a referendum tomorrow on Aotearoa New Zealand moving to become a republic, which way would you vote? Republic, here we come. Sorry, King Charles. King Charles and Whanau.
Insensitive timing.
Timing's not too good, but hey. You guys won't tell anyone.
God. Look, this one's a bit serious, but quite dear to my heart, actually. When you hear the words vulnerable Wellingtonians, who do you think of and what do you propose to do about it? Our vulnerable Wellingtonians, we have many communities who are suffering at the moment, but those in particular are our whānau who are sleeping rough on the streets, those who might be suffering from addiction issues. We as a community have an obligation to look after them. They're our people, they're our whānau. So we need to give them access to warm, dry housing, but we also must give them access to mental health support and alcohol and harm reduction.
Woo. Nice answer.
Very good.
Nailed it.
Right. That's what I can think about. This one says, it's a joker, which is show us your party trick. Well, not in a party, so I'm independent. So party trick.
Oh, ouch.
Was that it?
I can leave it there because it's a hell of a lot safer than anything else I might try, because this stage is not long enough to do what could be the party trick. It could end up being very difficult.
I just wanted, these were not rigged. I mean, obviously you wanted the party trick from Andy Foster. This was not rigged. But have you double jointed or anything like that? That's,
What, you got a football?
no. Paul.
Okay. All right. Okay, word for word, what do you hate most about these bloody awful debates? There's too many of them and there's no food. There we are. Done.
Yeah.
Way too many of them. Heaps of them. Hint.
But this
Okay,
is
so
one of the
we'll
good
just
ones.
stop there.
But Paul, this is one of the good ones, isn't it?
This one's fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome.
I agree.
Am I out? That's
Tori,
about 17
you go,
seconds.
you go.
So I can ask a candidate a question of my own choice. Paul Eagle, if you lost the mayoralty,
Yes.
who would you like to win?
She knows the answer to that.
My bro.
Hold it, Barbara.
Bro.
Don.
Don.
Chris.
Don.
Ray. I think Tory Whanau.
Okay, thank you for indulging me with the card round. Trademark the Spinoff members. All right, Paul Eagle,
Yo.
I've got a question for you.
Yes.
Have you seen the Wellington motion picture Eagle versus Shark?
I might have, yes. I like the costume.
If it was a film about you, who would be the shark?
Who do you think?
Your wife?
It would have to be Miriam the wife. There we are. Absolutely.
Yep. It's lovely. It's a bit feeble, but it's lovely.
She'd kill me if I said anyone else. She'd go, what the hell? Who?
Andy, your question in the film round is, Peter Jackson loves nothing more than a sequel, so why isn't he backing you this time?
You knew that was coming.
No, actually, no, I didn't know that. Actually, I didn't ask him.
Kidding.
Yeah, but he could volunteer to back you.
He could have done. But no, I didn't ask him.
Okay. It feels like a bit like a kind of teenager on a date. And I don't want to ask. I don't want to ask. I'm not going to ask. Okay. I tried really hard to think of a film one for you, Tori, but I couldn't. So all I've got is, if you're so great, why isn't Peter Jackson backing you?
Woo! Did you ask
I don't accept large donations. I cannot be bought.
Really?
Yeah, no. I've declared my donations to the Don Post. Did you too?
Same.
Did you? All of them?
Yep.
Yeah.
All of them?
Yep.
You've named all of them?
The donations after 1,500, yeah.
Okay. So have you done the same, Paul?
Yeah, we've all been interrogated by Andy's friends at the Dom.
I watched that debate, expertly chaired by Anna Fifield, and you all said you would name them if they gave you clearance to do it.
If they gave us clearance to do it.
But have you gone through that process
Yep.
since? Okay.
I haven't done that yet.
You haven't. Why not?
Time.
Time. Okay.
Time is...
Will you do that?
Yep.
Okay. Good. Fine.
Well, that's what I told them. So
Let's.
they just wanted to bring it forward.
For
their own purposes.
It's a very difficult time for a lot of people at the moment. In the this cost of living crisis, as we all know. So can you each give an undertaking down the barrel about what your approach will be for rates for people whose bills are piling up? Tori, you want to go first?
That's a really hard question. If I become mayor, I certainly wouldn't want to go above what the council has already committed to. I think they have actually done a good job increasing them because underinvestment has happened for so long. I mean, all I can really do is once I have access to the books, commit to that rates increase, lobby the government for resource and support wherever I can, and just really start to reprioritising some of the funding.
Yeah.
You're nodding, Paul. Is that your position too? Nothing firmer from you?
Well, I'd commission a review. I mean, one of the things I'd like to do is look at what projects are there, because Wellingtonians have been clear around saying these are the priorities that they want. Some of them are a bit boring, like fixing pipes, but hey. And I think that's the turning point, is you mentioned the P word, priorities, around these are the things that we want done first. So it's going to be some tough decisions. But I'd also like to look at revenue streams. I think if we move into amalgamation in the future, or there's other ways of earning revenue for our beautiful city, let's look at it.
Andy Foster.
I've always been somebody, Fran would remember this too, always been somebody who's she's rolling her eyes already, who's always tried to do as much as they can to try and trim the rates bill. But we do need to invest in our city, and Wellingtonians have told us in spades that we need to invest in our city, and that is the pipes, it is all the buildings that we're getting back, you know, the likes of the town hall, Takina, etc., the library. Wellingtonians want a city that really, really works. So there are some bits around the edges that we can trim. We've taken $32 million, which is best part of 10% out of the rates in the last 3 years without touching services. So we're trying very hard. In terms of a review, we don't need to look at the books because they're all, you know, get the books because they're public.
Perfect.
They're public, everybody can see them already. So there's a room to save money, but not you know, it's not a huge amount.
Does anyone want to come back on that?
I do want to say one thing around the Central Library, for example. So if we were to look at saving money, one of the things that is happening is Christopher Finlayson is going to the Office of the Auditor General, looking at the procurement process around the seismic strengthening of our beautiful Central Library. But there's a saving there of 65 to 100 million, and that leads me, it's what they're saying, Andy, not me.
It's not true.
So the OAG, as the acronym goes, is looking at that, but there's potentially 100 million. So that's made me think, what else is going on there?
So, Toby, look, Paul said this a number of times, so can I just correct that? So this is different. There's a different approach that's been taken. So we've gone for a base isolation approach. Sorry, we're getting technicalities here. Becker's came up with a different approach, which was a sort of almost like a big springs that they're putting in there called dampeners. And we looked at that, and we looked at it quite thoroughly, and the advice was we'd actually have to spend a whole lot more than that. Basically, the cost difference was virtually negligible, and we wouldn't get as good a solution. So we didn't go with it. So, look, OAG can have a look at it, but I don't think they're going to find anything.
Leadership is obviously a big deal. We all know that the mayor does not, by force of election, have a dictatorial platform. I'm not going to ask you about your leadership because you're all going to say you're good at leadership and that you can get people around the table and all that sort of thing. But let's entertain the idea that if you win the mayoralty, I feel like you've got a mandate and you've got the moral force to be able to, at the very least, push one thing through. Let's just imagine that's the case. If you were going to the people of Wellington and saying, give me a mandate to push this thing through, that you're then going to put down on the council table and say, this is what the people want. What do you think that thing would be for you, Tory?
I think I would really want to cement our relationship with mana whenua. So I'd be asking them what to do. So probably something land related, to be honest.
Okay. Paul?
Paulo? To rebuild our relationship with Wellingtonians. I mean, that's why I'm running, because many said to me that the relationship is broken. And the mechanism for me would be to look at 15-minute neighbourhood plans, and that would allow them to have a mechanism to engage on much more than just the streetscapes, business, retail, homes, and for them to be able to tell the city, so it would require a culture change of the council organisation, but something that embraces Wellingtonians, because that's what they're crying out.
So what would the organisation have to do? What would staff have to do to make it happen?
for example, a culture change would see that we need to embrace this concept. It's a global concept, rolling out in Melbourne really well. I've talked about this previously. I'd like to see it here because I'm looking to stop the dysfunction and the division, but I want people to come and feel that they are being heard.
Okay. Andy?
Yeah, I'd have loved to do that too, but the majority of our councillors actually didn't want to do that. Look, I think the area that we've really got to focus on is the infrastructure, it's the pipes, the transport and the housing that goes with it. So that's that integrated combination, so we end up with a lower carbon, more walkable, easier city to get around. And I think those things are all together. It's now delivery time.
All right, thank you. Fran Wild, have you got any questions for anyone?
Careful.
It's probably conflicted up the...
Poor friend.
How each of the candidates, including Andy, think in the next term they would lead the council to be more or less divisive than they are now and more positive.
I'll just repeat that question for those who didn't hear it. Fran Wild, Dame Fran Wild, actually, said, how will all the candidates, if mayor, lead the council to be less divisive and more united? Do you want to, since she name-checked you there, Andy, do you want to go first?
Yeah, look, no secret here. The first part of the training was really, really tough. I was presented on about day 3. I went and talked to every single councillor and said, hey, what do you want to, what is it you want to do? What are you aspiring to do? This is what I'm aspiring to do. The last one of them just walked out the door and he popped around the door and said, hey, can we come and see you? 4 of them walk in and tell me, we've got the numbers and this is who's going to be the deputy mayor. That person wasn't the deputy mayor, I chose my deputy mayor. But I knew right at the beginning that I was up against a block. It was a red-green block, and they were going to make life very, very tough for me. And they did. But through the middle of the training, and we tried several different ways to get people on board, middle of the training we did a review. I got the guy in who did the review in Tauranga, and of course what happened in Tauranga is they got commissioners in. And so I was being brave about that. And he said, you guys aren't Tauranga, you're still making decisions. You might not like them all, but we're still making decisions. But that process flicked the switch. And in the second half of the training, it's a very different council. I don't think we've got the credit for that. But it's a very, very different council. And now regularly I get the people who are at my throat at the beginning of the training saying, Andy, well done. That was really, really great. And likewise, me saying to them, well done. Thank you for courageous and brave decisions that you're making on behalf of our city. So we can do it. But it's not easy. I'm expecting there'll be a very different council next time round, and I honestly hope that there'll be a lot more independence around the table as well.
But you're saying it's fixed now. It's
I'm saying that the current council is working pretty well. Doesn't mean I agree with everything that that's done, but the first half has tarnished the second half. There's no doubt about that.
Paul Eagle.
Yeah, kia ora, Fran. Look, this is about leadership, unity. And what this means is we've got to stop bickering around, party politics not being there or independence. They're all part of the council whānau. So first of all, accept party politics, Green, Labour, New Zealand First, Andy, or others. And
not aligned.
And independence. But it's about forming that grand coalition with everyone. And that comes from the mayor having a vision, a plan. And we talked about what's the one thing you do. And I mean, that's when the conversation started. And I remember, if I reflect on my kōrero with Fran and people like Dame Kerry Prendergast as well, who I thought were 2 successful mayors, it's getting those conversations done early around what matters most to you and the people that you represent in your neighbourhoods. And then, day one, that's right. And then that's reflected into a plan. But there should be, by Sunday evening, Sunday the 9th of October, the mayor should be leading a council. Maybe not all of them will agree, but you'd like to think there was a charter signed on that Sunday evening that says to Wellingtonians, we've got this, and we're going to stand united for our city. That's me.
Tory.
So I think I'm actually the only one here who has successful coalition building experience. I brought the Labour Party, Green Party and New Zealand First together, and we delivered legislation for 3 years. And I'm really proud of that, and I'm still friends with a lot of them. And I was also really tight with the ACT Party and the National Party. And what you need is to respect people no matter what their political colours, no matter what their background. You invest in relationship management and you give respect. It's really not that hard. I think blaming, issues on party blocks is actually incredibly disrespectful. They're elected. They deserve to be there. You need to pay them with respect and create unity that way.
Pretty nice of you.
So what the 2 of you who are both endorsed rather than on a ticket, How will that relationship manifest itself when and if you're mayor? Not at all? Paul?
In terms of my Labour endorsement?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, the reason I purposely stood for, I mean, I had a choice. You stand as Labour branded, red and white, or the yellow and black. I wanted yellow and black because those are our city colours.
So you could have been a Labour candidate if you wanted to?
I could have, but I chose not to.
Would Jacinda Ardern have known that if you had been?
Yeah, absolutely. No, absolutely. I talked to the PM about this, and I said, I need to do it this way because we've just had the conversation around unity and uniting a council. I needed to get confidence of A, Wellingtonians, and B, those that do make it around that table to say, I can unite this. But I think it's owning it yourself and being upfront about that. The Labour Party's got a manifesto for local government, so have the Greens. I've looked at both of those. And then there are strong, independent personalities and with their ideologies as well. That's the unity conversation around embracing that and coming up with a united council for Wellington.
Is it the same recipe for you, Tory?
Yeah, so I'm not beholden to the party afterwards, and we agreed that it would be inappropriate for the mayor to do that because otherwise you couldn't collaborate or compromise. I'm endorsed by the Green Party because I needed resources for my campaign. You know, I was an unknown candidate. I needed some volunteers. I needed a little bit of funding, and that's it. That's all I've, you know.
Do you want to talk to that, Andy? Who do you take orders from? Just your living, breathing soul?
I take orders from you guys.
Has anybody got any orders for Andy Foster?
Hey, look, I get orders all day, every day. The challenge is that they're not always in the same direction.
Let's take a couple of orders quickly before we wind up.
2 fish and chips.
Sounds good.
An order and a milkshake.
You getting this, Andy?
Yeah,
any
we're
questions
sorting over
quickly?
there.
We've got time for, I reckon, a couple of questions from the audience. We don't have a system for taking questions from the audience, except that if you would like to... There's an arm. Give me a question. I'll repeat it so that it's caught.
Significant natural areas, they're New Zealand's highest biodiversity locations, frequently found on private land, and typically because private land is lowland rather than mountains, so they're not owned by DOC, they're owned by private landholders, ratepayers, and councils around the country, including, I'm pretty sure, Wellington City Council, have delayed taking any action on protecting those places. In the meantime, they're getting denuded so people can subdivide. So that's a massive loss for biodiversity in Wellington, but also across the whole country. So yeah, like my order, Andy, is pick up the pace. Like, let's do something about it while we can. Like, stop dithering.
So significant natural areas. Do you want to speak to that first then, Andy?
Yeah, look, it's a good question. So significant natural areas are as you described them. What we have done, so the district plan, as you've already heard, is out for, the first round of submissions has been completed, and then the second round, there'll be essentially what's called further submissions on the original submissions. So you can still have a say on those. What we have done is we've put the rules in place, which is a really important bit, and we've said that significant natural areas will apply at the moment on open space land and on rural land, not yet on urban land. And the reason that we ended up deciding that was because we wanted to make sure that we actually had an overall package, particularly for a lot of the urban landowners. If they weren't able to actually use their land, we felt that they needed some form of compensation. It's a bit like a heritage building. We support heritage buildings. There's a public good to heritage buildings, so we provide some resources to support those. So the same kind of thing is what we're expecting to do, and we'll bring that back next year.
Paul, Tory, do you want to speak to that at all?
Look, I know it's an issue, particularly in the western and northern parts of Wellington, where they are trying to grapple with this. But I mean, this goes back to this city is too divided around issues. So, the city's indicated some priorities, but we need mechanisms to be able to do that. And if it's compensation, yeah. I mean, I know we want to be progressive, meet certain targets. We can do that, but we've got to get the people connection right.
Tory, anything to add to that?
Not much more to add. I've spoken to a couple of people who have been impacted and they understand the need to protect the land. They just they want to be compensated where they might be impacted, and I don't think that's unreasonable.
Time for one more from the floor. Time for one more from the floor.
Yeah, good point. Compensation.
Hello.
No, totally. Yeah, totally.
So what, I was just going to say the type of compensation we're talking about is the potential for rates relief on the bits of land that we put aside. But that work hasn't been done yet. But the idea is to get that work done over the next 12 months.
All right, thank you. Yes, hi.
It's currently more expensive to live in council state housing than it is national state housing. Do any of the candidates have plans to change that?
Currently more expensive to stay in council housing than in nationally run Kaingaora housing. Anyone want to do something about that, please, as Mayor? Paul, you go first.
Yeah, look, I know that the city's resolved some of this. Andy will say it costs $30,000 a day. I didn't know that until the campaign trail. But it's because the governments of all colours both colours in this case, don't give local authority owned housing tenants the income related rent subsidy. And I think it's poor. I mean, I've had a wee little public spat with the housing minister over this, saying that that's unfair to Wellingtonians. The city has done an amazing job at keeping its stock. When lots of other councils went, shoo, we can get rid of an asset. This city said, no, we're keeping our public housing for those most in need. And so the resolution has been to set up a community housing provider structure. It's probably not perfect, but it does raise for me that we've got to prioritise housing right up there. Look at the supply lines across the continuum, transitional, emergency, right through to private housing, and get this sorted. It just cannot be a political football. Part of the deal, the $400 million deal that the then council struck under Dame Carey's time, was to resolve some of this. But we need that. We just need more supply. We need to get building those homes.
Tory.
Yeah, I mean, I think it can be quite simple. Just increasing supply as fast as possible, and I'll lobby hard for the income-related rental subsidy.
Andy.
Yeah, well, as you've just heard, we are setting up a community housing provider. So we've actually decided to do that. We're in the process of actually setting up the trust and all the arrangements around that. The idea is it'll be operative by the 1st of July next year. And the reason we're doing that is exactly as you say. At the moment, a lot of our tenants, it's about 40% of our tenants are paying more than 25% of their income in rent, which is higher than is appropriate. And the flip side of that is we can't afford to reduce the rents because at the moment we're losing, as Paul said, $30,000 a day. And in the current model, by the time we get to 10 years' time, if nothing changes, it'll be $130,000 a day. And we can't afford to do that. And the other bit is that every time we build a new house under the model we've got at the moment, we're losing even more money. So going to a community housing provider, which council still owns the assets, it's just that we are having a trust to run that. There will be councillors on that trust, the mana whenua on that trust, there will be people who are experts in social housing on that trust. To do that allows access particularly for new tenants to income-related rents, so they're better off, and it makes the building of new houses economically viable. So it's something that should have happened quite a long time ago, and if I'm quietly critical of the previous council, should have been done then.
All right, we're coming towards the end now of this debate because you guys have got another debate to go, and you've got to go and coach the All Blacks, Mr. Foster.
Yep, that's right. That's right.
Role tonight.
There's no relation. It's no relation, but he'll be a relation if they
Different
win.
guys. Okay, fine. Different guys. Different guys. Look, one last show-stopping set piece to do here tonight. We have stolen from a small child called Charlie this dog. And what I'm going to invite each of the candidates to do is to have a little kōrero with this dog in front of you all. And imagine that this dog is actually a human being, a New Zealander, who has been staying in, let's say they've been living in Melbourne or London or Berlin or wherever you like. They're thinking about moving back to New Zealand. There you go. And they're trying to decide between whether to move to Tamaki Makaurau, Auckland, or Wellington, to Whanganui-a-Tara, or to Kurau, the birthplace of Richie McCaw. Don't know which to do, and your task, I'm going to get you to do this first, Tory, is to look them in the eye, this New Zealander, and give them the pitch on why Wellington is the place to come and settle down, to come and live the rest of their life. Good luck.
Aspirational.
Yeah, sell Wellington, sell
Okay.
Wellington.
When I'm Mayor of Wellington, you should move to Wellington where you can afford to buy a home or rent. We have a world-leading public transport system, including light rail. It is the most artistic city in the country. And of course, we have a fabulous tech industry. But most importantly, your mayor. She's something fabulous.
Modest too.
No, not done. Your mayor knows how to unify the council and take the city with her on a journey. She is a wahine toa, and she's been mayor for 9 years already. Move to Wellington.
Science fiction stuff there. Paul Eagle, now that was very good. I like the way you looked in the eye there. That felt like there was a little bit of a relationship building. Paul?
Gucci, Gucci, goo. Okay, have I got a deal for you, Kuri? I want you to come to Wellington. It's absolutely positively, but this is the best city in Aotearoa, New Zealand. We've got the best people, we've got the best coffee, but we've also got affordable housing. You can buy a house here for rent, own, you name it. We've got great universities, a great place to study, beautiful parks, a livable city, some call it. We've got a bus system. Guess what? We've got a world-class bus system. Buses turn up. Homes are cheap. And guess what? The biggest thing, and this is, wait for it. We've got no wind anymore in Wellington. Because the mayor, Paulie, you got rid of it.
Will you resign if there is still wind in 3 years' time?
Don't talk to him again.
I was going to say, if you told Meridian
Thank you,
that,
Paul Eagle.
might be saying
All right.
wind farms.
All right, Andy, take it away. Bring it home.
Hi, Charlie. Welcome back to New Zealand. And obviously, I want you to come to live in Wellington. It's the capital of cool. It's the capital of culture. It's the capital of food and cuisine. It's the capital of capital. It's the capital of events. It's the capital of conversation. It's the place where people come to talk about the big stuff and the fun stuff. It's got awesome people and a great sense of community. And it's a place that's leading the world in environmental restoration. It's a place that you can do anything that you want to do. You can be anybody you want to be. It's a place of inclusion, of diversity, of... You can just be whoever you want to be, Charlie. We'd love to have you here to be part of our beautiful community here in Te Whanganui-Aotearoa, Wellington.
Thank you, Andy. Woo! The dog's not called Charlie. Charlie's the person we stole the dog from.
Oh.
But I like that you spoke to Charlie through the dog. Hey, listen, thanks everybody for being good sports, being super intelligent and interesting and engaged. Thanks to you all for coming out tonight, to Andrew, Angela and Mark for putting the event together, and to Meow for hosting us. Voting papers go out tomorrow, I think. So whatever you do, vote. Tēnā koutou katoa. Thank you, everybody.
Kia ora.
Thank you, Toby, and thank you all.
Woo!